I got the opportunity to go and help them at the beer pairing classic, where you can go and you can taste a bunch of wine, taste a bunch of beer. And so I got the opportunity to come up with an appetizer for one of these events. And so what I did, this is a good sales technique, actually. What I would do is someone would come up to our booth to try our food, right? They get a free drink pairing, they get a free food, and I would go, hey, come here. We have lemongrass. We have this. You want to eat my food. This is the best food in the room. You'll be doing yourself a disfavor if you go try anybody else's food. No, I'm serious. Like, why bother wasting your stomach filling up with other people's food when it's trash, when you should just be staying here eating all my food? Come on, get seconds, get fifths. They were sitting there just eating our food, and they're like, this is the best food in the house. I'm like, I told you. Like, did I lie to you?
Wait a minute. Welcome back to another episode of Kingdom Heirs, where faith meets business, inspiring the kingdom-minded entrepreneur. Today, I've got the great privilege to be interviewing my very own daughter, Michaelah Natalie Maddalone. I know it sounds like the name of a star, which is what the nurse.
I hate my middle name.
I don't care. It was very inspiring when we named you.
Name.
And the nurse in the hospital room said, Michaelah Natalie, the name of a star. Mom and I were like, bang, we're writing that in. Birth certificate on the way. Welcome to the show, Michaelah.
Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it.
So Michaelah this is her first time on the show. Michaelah has a background in culinary arts. She has her culinary arts degree. Mm-hmm. She's been in that industry for the past couple of years. She has worked with me, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, since you were 16, maybe 15, 16.
It was as soon as I got my license, like a little bit before I got my license.
Do you hear this sense of excitement? She couldn't wait to come work with me after school.
Well, I wanted a car really bad.
She wanted a car. She got a car so that she can come work with Dad, so she could then pay for the car.
Yeah, because it was like, I didn't want to share a car with my twin sister, Gia.
You have
Vanna.
a twin?
Yeah, she was on the podcast.
Is she identical or fraternal?
The doctors don't know.
But what did your DNA test say?
That we were identical?
Yes, that's a fun story.
The doctors said we were fraternal, but we're actually identicals, according to our DNA test, which I was actually kind of disappointed because I wanted different DNA than her.
You want a different DNA from your sister?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, too bad for you.
Yeah, but I didn't want to share a car with my sister because I didn't want her saying, oh, you can't go somewhere.
Make sure that thing's in front of you. Our viewers want to listen. They want to hear your beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you, Dad.
Come on,
darling.
It. Come on. So you didn't want to share a car because we had a shared car for you guys. You two could share the car, and you're like, you're firstborn.
I was like, that's not happening.
Your firstborn mentality. She's like, oh no,
that's not
I'm gonna
happening.
have my own car.
I
Dad.
was like, all right, like. I got my license after my sister Gia did. Like, that was just the way it worked. I got my license after, and I was like, this isn't gonna work. Mom and Dad, I'll do a loan with you guys. Why don't you co-sign on me? We'll go buy a car in San Antonio. I'll pay weekly payments. If I fail my weekly payments, then I will give the car back to you. And they said, okay, cool. So we go up to San Antonio. We got this $3,000 car. It died the next day.
I remember.
It didn't have a working radio. The windshield's kind of busted. But I love that car. I named it Wolf because it was a Volkswagen. It was a Wolfsburg Jetta.
Yes.
And it was funny because I went to work and like all my friends would be like, yeah, let's go do something. I'm like, great. I'll go after I get out of work at 5.
Were you a junior or a fresh? What were you, a sophomore?
I was a junior. I was a sophomore, about to be a junior, because I had just finished a photography and graphic design class, and you went, great, you're going to run my marketing.
Yes.
And I went, okay,
Bang.
cool. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Promote from within, guys.
I did not really have a strong social media account. I didn't like social media at the time, so I was like...
You took a class.
Yeah.
You are far greater than me.
I took a class and he said, all right, put me to work. And I was like, okay.
We had you do the marketing for what companies?
I did the marketing for Pure Tree, their modeling company. PT was a new company at the time.
PT Building Supply.
PT Building Supply was a new company at the time.
Yeah, so those were the two that we were running.
That was the two.
Time.
And then whenever Bentex came on board, that was the gutter company that they talked about in Gia's episode. I did the marketing for that as well. I did some cold calling, a little bit for that company. I would implement CRMs and systems for these companies. I would, every time, so I would basically, what I would do is that every time my dad would start a business, I would go, great, okay. I would start every single social media account. I would start the Facebook. I would start the Instagram. The emails. Email accounts.
You'd set up the
business
computers,
cards. The computer.
Website.
The
you
website.
built the website for us.
Yes.
The SEO.
Yes. I would do all of that. I had no idea how to do any of that. So I was just teaching myself.
I love it. And that's why I didn't really pay you anything, because you didn't know what you were doing.
He paid me enough for my car, my gas, and my insurance. And I would do that. All my friends would be like, oh yeah, mommy and daddy are covering it. I'm like, nope, I am paying for it.
That's right, you are.
We would go, it was funny because we would go, I would literally, like, this car was so bad. Like, I would go to the gas station and it'd be, like, I would look, because it would die every time I had to put gas in it. And so I would look over at my friends and go, hey.
My mechanic friends or anybody who's listening right now, why would this car die when you put fuel in it? Maybe a bad fuel filter?
I don't know. We never found out because I ended up getting rid of the car like a year later.
That's my ADD brain.
It was
segue.
funny because they would be like, they would get in my car and I'd be like, all right, you got to pray this thing starts. And they're like, you're joking. I'm like, no. And so I literally have them praying with me and I would have to hit the gas and turn the ignition.
Definitely a fuel injector issue.
But then it would come back to life and they'd be like, this is great. It was funny. But yeah, I got a better car like a year later.
You did? How did you do that? Do you remember that story?
Co-signed for a loan. I traded in that car.
You were 17.
I was 17, traded in. I had a secured...
You got a loan in your name. We co-signed it.
Yes, because I had a secured credit card because I wanted to build my credit that way.
How old were you when you got a secure credit card?
16, 17.
Bang. Power of building credit before the time you even hit 18 years old.
Yeah, because if the loan was in my name and if I was making payments, that would build your credit.
That's right. And then by the time you hit 18, 19, I think you were able to get the loan in your own name.
Yes. So loans in my name.
Now we're
I've
off
been
the
paying
loan.
everything.
It only takes about a year. We're off the loan and now it's all your credit. What kind of credit score do you have right now?
700, 750.
You have a 750?
Yeah.
You have better credit than I do. I pay my bills. I just have a lot on my credit report.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, and you are now 20.
Yes.
You're 20. You'll be 21 in May. So in a couple months, you'll be May.
Yeah. That was a huge sense of pride for me, actually, that I had that.
Yeah. Well, and that you worked for it. You built it.
Well, I part of it was like, I was like, they can't take it away. Like, I valued that very highly. I think like.
What can't they take away?
Well, like
the
you
car,
know, like,
the credit score, what that experience.
Well, as when you're a teenager, like you know, like if you get in trouble, like you're like people are like, oh, my parents just grounded me, they took away all of my devices and stuff like that. For me, it was like, okay, I own all my assets. If my phone is an asset because I can make money off my phone. My computer is an asset because I can make money off my computer. My car is an asset because I can make money off of that. If I own it all, they can't take it away from me. So as a teenager, that was like, I'm gonna
sign out here. Michaelah's just gonna take it. She's going to take this episode on.
Right.
Great definition of what an asset is. An asset is
if I can make money with it, it's an asset. That you can make money
from. Otherwise, it's just a liability that you pay down.
Right, because a car is an appreciating asset, just like a house is a appreciating asset.
It's an appreciating that, and if you could get someone to pay you rent, or you can rent a room out, or you could take the garage and convert it into living space.
Because a phone
then you can make money.
Because a phone is about as high. For the phones they're making now, they're about as high a quality as a camera. So, like,
it's so true.
For example, I for one of my hobbies in high school was I played paintball, and so I went to this paintball field, and the ref
go and destroy. She would destroy the men out in the field. She would snipe them all out.
It was fun. I got recognized in Bolero. I went to bowling and some guy recognized me and pointed at me. I don't know his name. He pointed at me. You're the guy who shot my friend. You're the guy who shot my friend. And I was like,
I'm a lady.
I have no idea who you are.
I can be like, yo, I'm a lady.
Yeah, but the refs there were like, yeah, the owners are gonna pay me they're gonna pay us like $1,000 and take the whole day, like do whatever we want, as long as we need to film a video,
marketing video for.
And I was for their field, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's a steal. When are you gonna do that? Oh, never.
They have no motivation to do it, no drive.
I'm like that, like $1,000.
I remember you telling me this. So you mapped it out all on your own. You're like, this is how I'm going to do it. So what'd you do?
I called the owner. I picked up the phone. I called the owner. I said, hey, listen, your refs aren't going to make that video for you. I'll do it tomorrow. You pay me $100 in cash, and then you give me like another $100 in gift cards to your field, and I'll go make it tomorrow. And he goes, okay, go do it. So I called a couple of my friends. I said, hey, you're going to be the actors in the video. I'll buy you a pizza or something. And they go, okay. So we show up, we film the video, and I send it to him. He gives me the money, and deal's done in like a day.
How'd they do with viewing? Did you put it on Facebook?
No, it was just a rules video for their field.
Okay, so they
it was just
rules.
They were updating their rules video, so I just gave them the file, and I said, all right, it's yours. I did it. You figure out what you want to do with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's good. And you edited it and you gave it back to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had like no experience video editing at all.
You were 18, 19?
No,
17?
I was like 17. Like this was the first video I'd ever edited in my life. Actually,
I love it.
I'd never edited a video before that.
And it was far better than the guys, the refs on the field who weren't going to do anything.
Yeah, but like they had PCs and stuff. Like they had access to hire. I just had a
phone. You had an iPhone.
Phone, and then I had a computer. I won in a raffle. I had won a MacBook.
Wait a minute, you won a MacBook in a raffle? How did you do that? Where did you do that?
We went to I went to a writing conference with my dad, and
who's your dad?
That guy right there.
Hey y'all. I love how she says my dad when I'm standing right next to her. Keep going. I'm sitting. I love it. So Michaelah, we didn't talk about this. Michaelah is a junior author. And
authors, if you publish things,
whatever.
They call it a writer.
Look, if you write something, you hand it to me to read it. I'm like, this girl's published in my eyes.
It's not how it works at all. But I'm
super proud of you. Daddy's very proud of you, darling.
Yeah, they were very sweet to me and took me to a writing conference where I got to meet. It was a Christian writing conference. I got to meet like one of my favorite authors. I sat down with an editing session with her. I saw all these keynote speakers, and then I won a MacBook.
Your dad went with you. Your dad went with you.
He did. It was very sweet of him.
Yeah. What was his name tag? What did his name tag?
Michaelah's dad.
So I had a name tag. Everyone's like, here, put your name tag. And it was like a printed name tag. Everybody needed a name tag because then it's a lanyard. You're walking around this big conference center. And I walked around solely as
Michaelah's dad.
Michaelah's dad.
Yeah.
And we met a ton of people, did a ton of networking. It was awesome. A lot of fun.
Yeah, but I won the grand prize, which was a refurbished MacBook.
A big
Pro, yeah. And so
what did I tell you before you won that?
You said we're gonna win that. I said really? And he goes, yeah, put it all in. So we had a bunch of raffle tickets, and we were like putting around like all. You could walk around the table, put it in. He goes, put all of them in that one. And I said, okay.
Yeah, I just knew I knew it. You were gonna win.
That computer served me faithfully for I believe I won it as a sophomore, and so that was
2018.
Yeah, so that's almost 6 years ago. I just replaced it the last week, and no problems refurbished.
And you did all your work for me,
everything
with that computer.
Yeah, so it was a great asset, but yeah,
you made money with it.
I made lots of money with it,
and you learned how to do video editing and graphics through a high school class.
Yeah,
right. I got so excited because that was a need we had.
Yeah,
and I'm like, Michaelah's learning this. Okay, take what you just learned now. Like do it here, real life, real time.
And that's kind of just what I do. Like I may not be the best at something, but if I can see something, I can replicate it. Like my mom took me to a murder mystery dinner party.
Your mom, my wife.
Yes. I guess I'm very possessive when I talk.
I love
I'm like, they are mine.
I'm excited about this. Go.
Yeah.
Murder mystery dinner. You guys went to a murder mystery dinner.
Yeah, because we went to a murder mystery dinner in San Antonio.
We're telling all of this because it matters. It's going to lead somewhere.
And
so
my mom goes, and we're watching the way they do everything. And my mom goes, you could do that better. And I was like, yeah, I could. Yeah. And so the next week, what I did was I created an event a month away from that day. I went and created a month away event for a murder mystery dinner in Corpus.
Yes.
Just from that, watching them.
Yes.
I took screenshots and pictures of everything, and I went and I called up my best friend and I said, you're going to help me with this. And she was like, okay. So I went and I called up everyone I knew who was an actor, and I said, hey, I'm putting on a play.
Was this at the venue? We did this at the venue?
Yes, we did this at the venue.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Was I in the show?
You were a guest that could participate in the show.
I was a guest that could
But you were not an actor, no.
I acted the whole time. I love murder mystery dinners. I love it. I make it so that people think I'm actually one of the actors.
Yeah.
And how many people thought that I did it?
A lot. We sold 50 tickets. I created all the marketing materials. I went and put flyers up at the coffee shops. I paid for boosted posts on Instagram and Facebook.
We had people we didn't even know buying tickets.
Right? Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. I wrote the entire script. I had practices. I had costumes.
Great character development.
Yes. You're funny. I organized the whole thing. We even had food. Since I'm in culinary, I had my best friend take the lead on the food. We went and we practiced the food to make sure that it was going good. I had helpers come and put that on, and so that was what we did. We had the actors get tips, but I was able to replicate that.
They made pretty good tips. I got to count the tips.
Yeah.
And I was like, pop, 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 bang.
But I guess my
Awesome.
point is that if you see someone doing something somewhere else, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you can just copy everything that they're doing and make it better.
Make it better.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally business. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just go and copy what someone else did and make it better.
I love that.
And you just have to be the one who takes the initiative to go do it.
What was the name of your murder mystery dinner? Do you remember?
No.
Who did it?
I'm not going to tell you because I want to do it again.
Who done it? Who done did it?
I'm not going to tell you because I was actually really proud of myself.
They were super
because I
fun.
took it from the ending was from I listened to a criminal podcast and like the ending was ambiguous, and so I was like, oh, like it actually happened. It was so weird. And then like I went and I copied it and put it in there, and it was a hit.
Here's a segue. If you haven't done a murder mystery dinner yet, it's worth the money. Go do it. And when you go do it, here's a tip. When you go do it, imagine that you are going there dressed up as a character. You are a character in the show, even though you're not. You're just going. But embellish it. Play along. And I promise you, at the end when they're writing down like who they think did it, remember there's paid actors there. A number of people are going to think that you were the one that actually did it. They're going to think you're part of the show. I've done that several times now. And I definitely was not part of the show. And anyway, I'm just saying it's a ton of fun. It's just a ton of fun.
I guess what I'm saying is that like I'm the type of person who, if someone like, because like that type of thing, be like, oh yeah, like sometimes you think, oh, I could never do that. I don't have any of the skills to go do that.
Girl,
like,
you were 19 years old trying to do that.
Yeah. And I was like, no, like if someone
Why can't you do it?
Exactly. Like, and I think that's really been my story in business is that if someone tells me no, that's my cue to go, I can do it, and I'm going to prove you wrong. Like that's how I got into the culinary arts industry. Actually, like I've always been in a little. Everyone's always a litle interested in food. Like you love eating.
We eat every day. Typically
right?
3 times a meal. 3 times a day.
You generally care a little bit about your food. But I had taken a culinary arts class in high school, but I didn't think that was like going to be my passion or my calling until like that wasn't even on my ticker for where to go to college until I had an advisor in high school tell me that I couldn't take an English class and that she wanted me to take a different English class. And I said, she wanted me, because I was going to take a Del Mar, which is a local community college. I was going to take one of their dual credit classes for English.
Yes.
And she said, no, I want you to take UT on-ramps English. And I said, but that's not, it's not what I want to do. It's a harder class. It's not really going to transfer properly. And she goes, no, but it looks better for me. And so I got angry. And I was like, you're supposed to help me as a counselor.
Not help you.
Not help you. And so what I did was I said, you know what?
This is why I love
I'm going to early enroll into college. And so I went around her, because I already was in dual credit. So I went around her, got the paper from my advisor, went to the principal, said, sign off on this. I'm going to take 4 extra classes.
And she said it really sweet and nicely.
I'm very intense as a person.
But she also said it really sweet and nicely.
Well, I can, yes. But yes. I retell stories very intensely.
Keep going, baby. I love it. I love it. Come on.
Yeah. And so one of those classes was an in-person cooking class. And so I got special permission from my teacher which I didn't get permission from the principal to do this until later in the semester because, you know, we had switching principals. But I would basically sneak out of school.
It's okay. You already graduated. Keep going. You've already graduated, baby. You're good.
I would sneak out of high school to go to an in-person college class. They can't put you in detention now. Which is so nerdy.
But you're a senior at that point.
Well,
you're
yeah,
senior,
but like, you know, people would skip school to go like to a party or something like that.
And we knew you were doing it.
I was skipping school to go to a college class.
If this is going to help you, girlfriend, do it. Do it.
Yeah, and so that's kind of where...
With your passion of cooking... You've been hired as a personal chef several times.
Yeah, I've gone in
people's anniversaries,
for anniversary dinners.
You've cooked in their kitchens for them. You get all the ingredients.
It's fun. I don't work there anymore, but I worked as the lead cook at an event center. So I've cooked for the CEO of the port. I've cooked for the mayor. You worked for Greg Abbott and
you cooked for the governor.
Yes,
and the mayor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the team was the Solomon Ortiz Center, Port Corpus Christi. They do a phenomenal job. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with the 2 chefs there.
Yes.
Craig, Leonard. I probably mispronounced his name.
That's all right.
And Kirsten Pollock, my chef KP.
I love it.
They do a fantastic job with everything, and the food is
top notch. So people say, well, you're doing so good there. Why are you back with Dad? Why are you back with Dad now? Your dad. Why are you back with your dad now?
Because
what did Dad call and ask you to do?
He asked me to come back because I left his business to go run. I was the lead cook over there, and so I left his business to come help run the podcast and marketing.
So you were working with the port.
Yes.
And you had graduated.
About to graduate. Yeah.
At this point, you've graduated. You have your culinary degree. Mm-hmm. And you're one of those people, if you go to your social, we're going to include your socials with your cooking. Mm-hmm. Michaelah does some of the best cooking reels. And it's like,
me.
That's my job is to flatter you, darling. I'm daddy, remember? Mm-hmm. So, but your stuff's really good and you get a lot of hits, but really it's you just really enjoy, like in the life of, what's the name of your Instagram?
Tasting the Star, yeah.
Tasting the Star, mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
With, like I said, Michaelah Natalie is like a star's name, right? Bang, Tasting the Star. You didn't realize that, but I just full circled it. But here's the cool thing, is you've got a flair for creating content, mm-hmm. right? And so we've launched Kingdom Heirs. And again, I don't know a lot about this type of content creation. I'm still learning. But I'm like, Michaelah does. She knows it. She's got a marketing head, a marketing brain. She sees how to bring things, pull things together. Michaelah is not front and center. She does not like to be front and center. So I had to kind of drag her in to do the show. That's why
my boyfriend was like, I was like, I'm too nervous to do this, and he was like, just tell the story of how we met. I'm like, my dad's not gonna like that.
Too bad for you, Art. But look, I just mentioned his name. Ooh, Arturo. Okay, but here's the cool thing is that, we see the value that you have, and now you worked with me in the office for a couple of years, and then you went and worked for a giant company here in town. The Port is one of the largest employers and income revenue producers in our whole area. Yeah, the Port of Corpus Christi, one of the head cook. Yeah. Head cook there.
No, lead cook.
Lead cook there, and so. And anybody that's worked in kitchens know that it's intense. It's a harsh environment. We know it's a hard environment. You can have good people that you're working around, but still it's a hard environment. So we always want to be kind and thankful to the people who are in the back of the kitchen who are putting together the meals that we eat. Especially you guys are plating up for 5, 6, 7, 8, 1,000 people.
Right. Yeah, we did mass production. It was like it's a whole system, because if you don't really know how a hierarchy in a kitchen works, so what you have is you have your executive chef. The executive chef, they're the lead. So like they're doing all the scheduling, they're doing all of the menus, they're meeting with clients and stuff like that. Yeah. They don't really act in the kitchen that much. That's the sous chef. The sous chef is basically like the kitchen manager. An exec will come in like on like the huge days. Like whenever we were cooking for like Greg Abbott, she would come in, like we do like the wine classic, the beer classic, weddings.
Is there a cupbearer and a taster for the governor and the president? Someone who has to taste their food first?
No, but they did have some pretty sophisticated system technology to go around the room and make sure, like, to verify if there's any threats. Like they could zoom in on you and see what was going on. I
love it. Denise, can you zoom in on us right now? Make sure there's no threats in this room.
I don't think so.
We got to upgrade our technology.
It's real high. It's a high tech.
We need some more POV going on here.
So then you have your sous chef. And the sous chef basically runs the entire kitchen. He's the one basically tasting everything to make sure that it's going good. Good. And so then you have your leads. So I was the lead. So I was number 2 to the sous. Yeah. And so I would help make sure that everything that he was doing was going
Talking
good.
To your mic, sweetheart.
Sorry, I was leaning the other way. I'm leaning away from the mic. And then you have your cooks. And so then it can break down even further. You can have your line cooks. You can have your prep cooks. Prep cooks are the ones who do all the prep before service.
Sounds like
They usually come in the day before or 2 days before, depending on how the mass volume that we're about to do.
It's insane.
And then you have your line cooks, which the line cooks are more for restaurants. So like they're on the line firing off. Your food should be coming out in 15 minutes. That's the mark time. If it takes longer than 15 minutes to get your food, there's something severely wrong in the kitchen.
Yeah, and we've all
severely
have been
wrong.
at those big events wondering.
Yes, and so then they usually pass it off.
It's a huge production.
It is a huge
It's a
production.
lot of people. Then you got the servers, the platers. You got everything going on.
Yeah, and restaurants is different from catering. I never have worked in a restaurant. I've only worked in catering. I prefer catering. Catering is where you make your money. Most restaurants fail within about the first year. I think it's more like 80% of restaurants fail in the first year, and then after that, it's like 50% fail after the 5-6 years, because food cost is just food and labor. It's a number that has to be really, really intensely calculated, because food is so expensive. Usually the number is about, if you want to be less than 25% on your food costs. If you are over 25% on your food costs, you are losing severely losing money.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a tough industry, and it's hard because there's a lot of mental health and substance abuse in the industry. Also just, I went to culinary school. You don't need culinary school to get started. Actually, if you get started, graduating culinary school, if you're newly graduating from culinary school and go to work in a kitchen, you're starting at the bottom.
Yes.
Either
way, because they want you to learn everything from the bottom up, which is a great way to learn, by the way.
Yes, and so
which means you got to be there for the grind.
Yeah, you will spend maybe 5 to 10 years before you even see sous chef.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because it's a hierarchy.
You got to work your way up. You can fast track it. Mm-hmm. I know people who fast tracked it.
Well, you fast tracked it.
I fast tracked it to lead.
How did you do that?
Because there was a lead.
Because someone told you couldn't.
Right, but
well, I'm going back to what fuels Michaelah.
What happened was that my position, new to the kitchen, I'd only been working there. I started as an intern, only working there for about
that was the key. Yeah.
I started as an intern. I was working my way up, and so the lead position came up, and I was talking to my sous chef, because I would trail my sous chef everywhere. I was like a lost puppy following my sous chef around the kitchen, being like, "Why do you do that? Why do you do that? Why do you do that? What does that taste
all
like?"
the questions, absorbing.
Yeah, I was a lost puppy following my sous chef.
It's a great way to get in,
and I was
lead, to learn how to lead.
I was like, Craig, how do I want the lead position? I was like, I knew I was not experienced enough for a lead. I knew I had leadership qualities, but I was not experienced enough to have it. Yeah. And he looked at me and he was like, okay, come here. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, go do the temp logs.
Temp logs.
Go do the temp logs. Temp logs are really important in a walk-in, because we have huge walk-ins and fridges.
Walk-in coolers,
and so
freezers, yeah.
Every day you need to go into your walk-in and you need to take the temperature and then write it down in the log outside of the date and time, because that's how you check on the efficiency of your walk-in, because that's how you catch it if your walk-in breaks down, and so that way
you're already ahead of it.
You're ahead of it, and you don't lose product, or maybe you notice there's a smell. Maybe since it was the first thing you looked at in the morning, then you're able to tell if maybe an order didn't come in correctly, or someone didn't do the prep from the day before because you weren't there. And so that's what I would do. I would take the initiative and I would go and I write the temp logs, and I did that did that every single day. I would come in and I would write the temp logs. And so he saw that I was faithful of something small. So he was like, I can go and put a good word for you in for chef to become the lead, because we saw that you were faithful of something
How many
small.
other 20-year-olds get that role, do you think, in big kitchens? What do you think the likelihood of that for a 20-year-old to hit it? I mean, realistically.
Realistically, if they're hardworking and teachable. Because that's the thing, is that a lot of people think I need to be this amazing chef. I need to be this amazing cook. I need to be the top of the game. No, I was not the best cook in that kitchen, but I was.
But you were part of a team, though.
Right, but I was teachable. They don't want someone who's the best. They want someone, because every kitchen does things differently. Yeah. There's a thousand ways to do one technique. So if you can mold yourself to their method,
adapt to the head,
the way
adapt
that they're doing it. If you
chef,
can cook the way that they do it, then that's what they want more. They want a guy they can teach, not a guy who's been doing things the wrong way all his life. He may just be a body that's there, but he's not someone who they can teach and grow.
Yeah.
And they want someone they can teach and grow.
I love that.
Yeah, I love. They are phenomenal. Their thing. I got the opportunity to go and help them at the beer pairing classic, which if you're in Corpus and you didn't know, they have this VIP foodie event called the Wine Classic and the Beer Pairing Classic, where you can go and you can taste a bunch of wine, taste a bunch of beer. I don't drink, I don't like it, but you can if you like it, and you can taste all this food around. And so I got the opportunity to come up with an appetizer for one of these events. And so what I did was that this is a good sales technique, actually, was that what I would do is someone would come up to our booth to try our food, right? They get a free drink pairing, they get a free food, and I'd go, hey, come here. We have lemongrass, we have this. You want to eat my food. This is the best food in the room. You'll be doing yourself a disfavor if you go try anybody else's food. No, I'm serious. Like, why bother wasting your stomach filling up with other people's food when it's trash, when you should just be staying here eating all my food? Come on, get seconds, get fifths. And that was my thing. I said that to about like
Did you have
500.
Did you have a tip jar out?
I should have. But because we had people camping out at our table.
I would have been like, just
I had someone just standing there eating, and they loved it. There was like 1,000 people at this event, and they were sitting there just eating our food, and they're like, "This is the best food in the house." I'm like, "I told you." Like did I lie to you?
Wait a minute. Do you think it really was the best, or do you think it was just in your subconscious?
No, we had the best food. Yeah.
Because you cooked it?
Duh.
Done.
My team's the best team.
Done.
Right?
Drop the mic. Let's go.
Like, why would you, like, people go to sell stuff and they're all like, oh, maybe, like, would you? Like, no. You tell them that your food is the best food. You tell them your product's the best product. Because why would you want to work with someone who's not confident in their product, right?
I'm like, I love listening.
Well, that makes sense.
I love listening to you.
Why would, like...
I'm so excited.
But I got it from you.
Your dad is so excited with you.
But no, but that's the point, because, like... That's,
I love it.
Like, if I'm following Craig, or if I followed Craig around, my sous chef at the time, it meant I was also following you around, because we went to South Africa to part of a mission trip, which is part of the vision of Kingdom Heirs, is to empower business men and women to honor God with their business and to create more money, and then take that money and then put it back into the kingdom. So one of the things that we did was we went on this mission trip to South Africa, where we used to live recently. And so we were putting on revivals. We were putting money into these communities so they can start their own things, which we'll be sharing hopefully soon with the audience. So that way you guys can also help fund these projects.
Be part of it as you're led and as you want to be part of it.
We've been working with these guys for over a decade.
We don't want to keep it all to ourselves.
No,
we want you all to be part of the blessing.
One of the cool things was that one of these guys, he hadn't been able to see. He had the vision problems all his life. Jeffrey.
Let's get a picture. We'll get a picture of this, because this was super cool.
This was super cool. And
I wasn't there, right?
No, because you were negotiating with the governor of Mozambique to be like, hey, why'd you take the water away? We've been investing in this community to get water. And then you suddenly shut it off. Like, why'd you do that? That's wrong.
Yeah, I was upset.
Yeah, and so he was in a meeting with them.
With the governor.
Yeah, but we had just found out, because we didn't know that he had been having problems with his eyeglasses. Because for the part of it was so funny.
He didn't have a prescription.
He didn't have a prescription.
And he had like several different things on it. He couldn't really see the light outside, severely hurt his eyes. And so I couldn't be there, and I said, what?
You said, Michaelah, I need you to help me we set up an eye doctor appointment. You need to get...
Who drove the car? Did I drop you off at the mall?
Well, you left us with the car.
Oh, I left you with the car. Oh, yeah, that's right. Who went driving?
Jeffrey or Luca? I think Luca drove.
Luke drove. Pastor
Luke drove. We were sitting in the back, and we were going to the mall. And so we walk into this eyeglass shop. And so I'm taking point on this because this is in Mozambique.
This is in Maputo, Mozambique.
Yes, they speak Songa, and they speak Portuguese, which is not different from Spanish. They do not understand if you speak Spanish.
It's an old Portuguese colony.
Right, and this guy's Indian, and so I'm walking in there, and I'm like, okay, my dad sent me on a mission. Okay, and I know my dad, right? So just as I knew Craig and knew the way he wanted things to be run, I know my dad. And so I came up to this Indian guy, and I said, listen, you're Indian, right? I'm like, you will give me a very good deal, because I am here with my dad's credit card, and if you give me a bad deal, then he will look at me and go, why were you wasteful with my money?
Come on.
I'm like, do you want me to tell my dad I was wasteful with his money? And he was looking at me, he goes, no, I do not. I'm like, hey, come on, I know you. I'm like, you Indians, you love a good deal. I know you'll give me the best deal.
Understand culture. Right? It's so important. Because people love that you understand their culture. Yeah. We have a lot of Indian friends, and we just...
They are great deal makers.
They really are.
If I want a good deal, I'm going to ask an Indian guy for where the good deals are.
Well, if you don't ask for the good deal, they don't really respect you.
Right?
Because they're constantly out there hustling a great deal for them and their family.
You're white, you're American, you're a female. Oh, I can take advantage of you, right?
No, baby.
And I was like, nah, you'll answer with my dad and his credit card, and that's why.
So funny.
And he goes, I'll give you the best deal. And I was like, thank you, man.
So he did the eye test. Yeah. They gave him the proper prescription. Yeah. They made up the prescription. They had to rush it. They said we're leaving in 2 days. I said, we need this thing pronto, right? So you did all that negotiation.
Right.
We finally show up. They rushed it to Maputo, downtown city. They got it all done. They sent it back. I show up.
And the guy
to collect the glasses, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, all right, how'd we do? And he says, your daughter, she's good. She's real good. I say I say it like an Italian New Yorker, but he said it like your daughter's very good. She did a good job. Oh, so good, so happy. Good negotiator. I said, oh, that's so good. I'm so happy. And when we bought Jeffrey the glasses, it changed his
smile. Like, I think that was the most rewarding part. And I think that was the most rewarding part for the Indian guy as well. Just seeing the smile on Jeffrey's face was like
another business owner.
Like, because he put on his eyeglasses, and I was like, all right, Jeffrey, is it good? And he goes, I can see. And you just see the smile on all the guys' faces around.
Been like that
them.
for years.
And I like
years,
turned and looked at the guy, and I was like, thank you.
It was very rewarding to be part of. To be part of that experience. And we have video, we got picture, we can add some in. I think it'd be fun to do that.
Yeah.
Because you can see the real experience that we're having with the resources that we generate. We build this.
And we want people who follow, everyone who's subscribed and following our thing, we want you guys to be able to pour it into their lives as well. Because, sometimes they're like, you see the things and you're like, oh, donate. But like, you never see the tangible like results of like what you're doing. You're just like, oh, I'm probably just donating some administration costs. I hate that. I want, like, if I'm donating money, I want to see the impact. And I think that's the cool thing is that whenever we're able to release this, you'll be able to see, like, okay, my money actually went somewhere. Like, these guys actually know them, and if the money is misused, we'll pull the support.
That's exactly what I've done.
And we'll go and hunt down the people who misused it and be like, hey, why wasn't this put to this hungry children? Why was this used to make yourself better? Like, that's not who we are.
That's not what we're here to support.
Yeah.
I think that's key, and I appreciate you sharing that. It's a great segue into the why Kingdom Heirs exists, and really it's a burden of what we've been doing for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Our family has, and we have a great burden for helping people and connecting. We really see Kingdom Heirs as a connector of how you can be connected with us and how we can be connected together with doing God's work.
Yeah.
And I think that's really something tangible and special. So, to your point, when we support, we hold them severely accountable. When we send resources, it has a very specific purpose of that resource for every dollar. And they must report back with video, with photo, and full reports. And if they don't, they know that I will stop. I will not send another dollar. I just will hold. And because I know these guys, they respect me. They understand, that we must fulfill the purpose of this contribution or this investment, the sowing in the investment. So for you to be part of that with the eyeglasses is a great example of how we can lift somebody up. And Jeffrey's a leader in his community. He started as a very hardship as an orphan from the HIV/AIDS pandemic in the early 2000s, which wiped out millions of people our ages. But he is a great example of someone who found God early in his life. Though he felt homeless and destitute, he found God early in his life, and his focus was, let me begin serving my fellow community people. And he got involved with a food program of helping dish up food parcels for the community. And that's where he started. And today he is a leader in that community as a local pastor. And the community asked him to come and be the pastor of their community church. And we were there just in July holding a huge tent revival. We cooked for hundreds of people, water baptized many people, and people were so lifted up because people from America cared enough to come to their little village, right? I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're doing this. This is why we're here, is we just want to be a part of doing something that's bigger than ourselves. Yeah. And we realize when things are bigger than ourselves, we need other people to be part of it.
And that's something that I've done also in my life. Like, I think that's the importance of having your children start young and to have them follow you everywhere, because your children will emulate you. They'll become what you are, and then they'll go further. Like, for example, in my college I just graduated from, there's a small minor issue that's going to be resolved shortly in the next couple of weeks with one of the programs. And so one of the students had created a petition to gather student report, because the entire student population was like, hey, our voice isn't being heard. And so she was going around getting the signatures. I was kind of just like, I'm focused on graduating. And then I hear her talk to one of the leaders there. And when the leader said, oh, don't bother with the petition, no one, like, they're not going to care. And I turn around and I just like see this girl, like the hope just go out of her eyes. And I turned and I said, I'm signing that petition and I'm going to go take that to the leader. And so I just sat down right then and there.
Administrative leader of the college.
Yeah. I said, I'm going to take that to the dean. And so, right. And so I end up sitting down in 20 minutes. I wrote a like 3 or 5 page essay of all of the things
that they can act on, make improvements.
Well, all the problems and then all of the solutions. And so then
identify the problem, but always have a solution to the problem.
I told the girl, go get all the signatures. She got all the signatures.
What'd she get, 50?
50, yeah.
That's good.
Which is the more than half of the program. And so I went and I went to a networking event. I connected with someone. I said, point me to the leader. She pointed me to the leader. And then from there, I got a meeting. I sat down with the dean. I said, here's all the list of the things. And I didn't just tell her the problems, right? I said, I was really nice. I said, I know that you care. I know that you're doing this because you care about students. You want to make a difference. Here's all the voices of students saying that they don't think it's going to work. And then here's a list of all the ways we can increase enrollment and the graduation rate. And this is all the things I think you should do to create incentives for business people to send their employees to college. Here's a list of all the ways that I think the Scholarship Foundation should do to make sure that more students are able to access scholarships, because there's a few students who are not able to access scholarships. Here's what I think you should do to increase the marketing and visibility for the college.
Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. You haven't told me the full story.
You never asked.
Because I saved it for this moment right here.
Right, okay.
Did they offer you the job? They pay you 6 figures to go and do this job for them? Because she who has the idea usually gets hired for the job?
No, but they said they put me in contact with their marketing person, and I have a meeting with them, both the faculty and the dean on Monday, to see how they are going to put all these changes into effect.
I love it. I love this. This is what you guys need to hear and understand. I had nothing to do with that.
No, but what you did do is that you gave an opportunity for your child to go and follow you in business, which is, I think, a lot of business owners don't do. They go, I'm going to box my child out of my life. I'm going to box my family out of my business. I'm going to compartmentalize my life, and I'm going to isolate my work self from my home self and my church self from my work self, and I'm going to put everything into the boxes. And because of that, they miss out on passing down their legacy. Because the legacy of my dad is that he is someone who doesn't say, when someone tells him no, he goes, okay, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm going to still do it. Oh, you're in need. I'm going to help you. Okay, I failed. Okay, yeah, that's just a lesson. All right, I'm going to move on. And if you compartmentalize your life and box your children and your family out of your business, your legacy isn't going to pass on. You're going to die and no one's going to remember you.
So true.
So
that in the end is all about why we want to make sure that we live life together. Mm-hmm. We can, as owners, as leaders, as fathers, we think that the way we can bless our children is with buying them what they want.
It's not about presence. It's about presence.
It's about presence.
And that's the same thing for a relationship with God.
Being present.
It's not about, oh, I went to church 5 times.
Yeah.
If you went to church 5 times a week, but you never said a kind word to someone, if you never helped someone with their groceries, if you never went and sat down and took your little sister out to lunch, right?
Yeah.
Are you really a Christian?
That's the question. Because it's about action, outward actions. It's about faith is beautiful, but faith without works is ugly.
It's dead.
It's dead, which means it's really not tangible. It's nothing. And
you're not really living a full lifestyle.
The way that it's designed. And I think that's the whole point about knowing who our creator is. Know Yahweh, the great I am. As God revealed himself to Moses as Yahweh, the great I am. Mm-hmm. I am that which I am. Jesus Christ has revealed, he says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen God, you've seen Yahweh, and the kindness that I've shown you, the love that I've shown you, the goodness I've shown you, the mercy I've shown you, the compassion I've shown you, you go and do likewise. But you can't do that unless you have love. You've received love and kindness and goodness and mercy from our Father, right? And that's that whole thing about if we've received ministry from our Father, if we received it from God, then we can share it with others. And I think it's so important that as fathers, and that I'm trying to be real with you, Yeah, that you should see the good, bad, and the ugly, but you should also see me and experience forgiveness from me. You should hear me say, Michaelah, I screwed up. You know I let you down. Will you forgive me? You know, and that exchange is huge, right? Because then it opens your heart up back to me, right? When we offend our kids and our children and we don't ask for forgiveness,
it's the worst thing that you can do.
Bang! The wall goes up, and it could take 3 years for that wall to come back down.
Yeah, I think the most healing moments have been for me whenever a parent, you or mom, has come back to me and said, Michaelah, I'm so sorry for hurting you. Do you forgive me? I won't make that mistake again. Yeah. And like it actually is like a physical like. Yeah. I think there's a verse in the Bible where it says it says children obey. I'm probably misquoting this.
It's okay.
It says children obey your parents, but parents please do not like
hinder your
children. Do not be too harsh with them. It's not to say like you should discipline them because that's to not discipline a child discipline is to not love them.
Discipline is,
but do not be unnecessarily harsh with them because that can close them off from a lot of things. Good things like love.
And so what I get to see here, as we wrap this up, what I'm seeing in your life is diligence, faithfulness, perseverance, vision, passion, joy of helping others. And what I also see is a bit of a mirroring effect of, what I'm doing. I see you doing in your own platforms, your own levels, your own places. You're doing it. Like I said, I wasn't involved with what you did with your college and with the deans and everything. You're operating like you're a 30, 40-year-old lady. And I love the fact that you didn't wait to get engaged to do have this type of impact in the community. You're doing it now. And there's no reason for anyone who's listening right now thinks that I need to be older or I need to have accomplished more things or I'm not qualified.
Dude, I literally was talking about this and I was like, I can't go on this podcast. I've done nothing. Like, I think that's what a lot of times you find from really accomplished people. Like, you may look at someone and go, oh, they're so successful. But if you go talk to them, they say, I've accomplished nothing.
But quite frankly, you have. You've accomplished a ton, which is why I wanted you on the team with Kingdom Heirs. And I think that's what's really great about this is that with your passion. Remember how many times I've said I'm so happy you're joining me?
A lot.
So many. I'm like I'm just so happy you're joining me.
Flattery.
But it's not flattery.
Right.
It's me being excited knowing that I've got someone in our corner on our production team that understands the vision, that has the same vision, who's lived it out for the past 20 years with us. Is like, bang, I want to be part of this. And Dad, don't worry. You've got someone in your corner to help you fulfill this. We're going to do it together. And I think when we see that in life, that we can have a living relationship with our children and see them not as a burden or a liability or a tax credit. There's so many guys out there just, I get to claim them on my taxes. I'm like, dude, you're missing the point.
You're destroying your legacy.
You're destroying everything.
Your kids aren't going to want to be around you.
Yeah.
You're going to be alone in life.
And you won't know your grandkids.
You won't. They'll cut you out.
They won't want you there. To see your child as a burden. There used to be people that come to me, they'd see me and Mom and I at the local store buying our food with you three girls with us. And some of these men would say, oh, and they see like all our food lined up. Dude, I feel bad for you. And I turn back around. I'm like, excuse me? What are you saying? You feel bad for me? That I'm providing for my family? He's like, I don't mean it like that. So what are you saying? I said, what else should I do with my resources and my money? Should I not want to provide something beautiful for my family, such as food? You feel bad for me? Dude, I'd be like, I wasn't like ugly about it.
Yeah.
But inside I was like, what? Who says that? To think about it, the greater joy we have, the greatest joy in life we have, for those of us who have been blessed to be able to raise a family, is to do just that, to raise a family, to live with your family, to live life out with your family. It's the greatest joy. The greatest things in life have always been the experiences that Mom and I have had with y'all, you and your sisters and your brother. It's never because, we made $1 million or we built this or we did that. That's never been the greatest joy. Well, it's always been that we live life together.
Well, if you hit $1 million, it's like, what's next? And that's what you guys have talked about. Like, okay, having a lot of money does not mean success because it's never enough.
Correct. That's exactly
And
right.
really, what point is that once you've hit once you start making money, you need to get introspective and start thinking, okay, what's my actual purpose? What am I actually going to do? Because I could have all this money and still be empty inside.
That's right.
I could have no money and be empty inside.
That's exactly
At some
right.
point, I'm going
and
to
then
sit
bitter
down.
because you got no money, right?
Yeah, or bitter because you have too much and it's not enough.
Correct.
So at some point, you need to sit down and be like, what's my actual purpose? And if it's not for God, your family, or the kingdom,
Then what's the point?
what's the point?
We're living an empty life. It's a shell of a life.
Yeah.
For those of you, I just want to say this because I know some people, would love to have a family, couples, husbands, wives, that haven't been able to have children yet. I think one of the greatest things that you could do is to adopt.
Yeah.
Mom and I have talked quite a bit about adopting.
I was a respite care provider. That's another thing. If you aren't sure if you're ready to adopt or foster, you get involved in being a support for the families who are fostering children because they need a lot of support. I know in town we have Agape Ranch, Agape Harbor.
Yes.
They need,
our cousin works there, and we know the directors
They
of there.
need respite care providers for people who are not sure yet if they're ready to foster or adopt. But if they can just be an hour of babysitting,
You're engaged.
People
now
need
you're
that.
in.
Yeah.
Now you're in.
That's a great way to get involved in your local community and to network.
Yeah, network. I think the key thing is share what God's given to you. Share with others. Share with others. Don't say I don't have anybody in my circle. Fine, just create a circle and start sharing, pouring back in. God has poured into us, so we can pour into others. We should never be like a Dead Sea where the blessing stops with us. It should always be that we're pouring into others, starting first with our family. Mm-hmm. Michaelah, thank you for being on the show. You did extremely well. You'll be back on the show many times. Michaelah is part of our creative team here with Kingdom Heirs. The reels that are being produced on today's is here with the production, but Michaelah is really the one that's driving all the daily reels and everything that's coming out. So thank you for sharing this. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and ringing the bell for Kingdom Heirs. If you would, open up your phone and copy this link and share it with as many possible people as you would. And say, hey, do me a favor, subscribe to this channel. Without us, we're doing what we can, and we're going to continue to be faithful because we truly believe this is what Yahweh, our God, wants us to do, is to bring this message forth. And as you just heard it from Michaelah, we think it's a worthy challenge and a worthy call. So, guys, there's more coming. We've got a whole lot more. We had a plan of what we want to talk about, but the Holy Spirit took over, so we're so thankful for that. We pray you are blessed today. God bless you, and we will see you next time.